So we'll continue with the malignant mesenchymal tumors. So malignancy, as you know, is capable of metastasis both local as well as distant. And in this malignant mesenchymal tumors, I told you sarcoma is the terminology when we are referring to a malignant mesenchymal tumor. We are going to discuss fibrosarcoma, osteosarcoma, chondrosarcoma, and Kaposi's sarcoma. So chondrosarcoma is the malignant tumor of the cartilage or the chondroblasts, that is the cartilage forming cells. And again, this is characterized by excessive deposition of the cartilage. It is quite a rare tumor of the jaw. It is seen more in the long bones. And site in case of oral cavity is more in maxilla compared to the mandible. And this is 20% seen in younger than 20 years, but the rest of it is seen over 50 years of age. Okay, so this is one tumor which shows slight difference in the age group predilection. And there is no gender preference as such. Both gender are equally affected. And appearance, it is again a painless mass. It is asymptomatic and it is associated with the mobility of the teeth. And maxillary tumors could cause nasal obstruction because it is closer to the nasal cavity. What is epistaxis? It's the bleeding from the nose. Okay, epistaxis is bleeding from the nose. Photophobia, that is you are afraid of the light, and loss of vision even. All this is happening because maxillary bone is very thin, okay, and it is the most common site for this sarcoma. So the spread is very fast and it is invading all the adjacent structures, that is your nasal bone, your orbital bone. That's why you have symptoms like nasal obstruction, epistaxis, and even to do with the vision. So that's how you have to correlate, okay? So radiographically, you will see a radiolucent area because it's not bone, so it will not appear sclerotic or radio-opaque, okay? So it still appears radiolucent and it has poorly defined borders. If you see here, there is no border at all which you can see, and there can be some radio-opaque foci. If you see in between, there are some radio-opaque foci because maybe the cartilage is undergoing some mineralization, so it might be looking like that. Histopathologically, you will see malignant chondrocytes again. So that's how you differentiate from a chondroma from a malignant chondrosarcoma, because the chondrocytes are all malignant in this scenario. So again, this show pleomorphism, that is in difference in the change in the size and shape of the cell, change in size and shape of the nuclei and even nucleoli, change in the nuclear cytoplasmic ratio. So all these dysplastic features are seen in the malignant chondrocytes. And this, and of course, along with that, you will see deposition of the cartilage. The treatment is radical surgical excision. So in this case, they're radio resistant. So you should not do radiotherapy for a chondrosarcoma. Okay, so the two other options, that is your surgical excision, and that can be combined with your chemotherapy, but radiotherapy should be avoided in case of chondrosarcoma. Okay. So the next tumor is the malignant tumor of the blood vessel. So we're going to discuss Kaposi's, not the angiosarcoma, because I think this is more important and it is associated with some other things which are to be taken care of. So these lesions arise from the endothelial cells. If you don't know what is endothelium, that is the lining of the blood vessel. Okay, endothelium is the lining of the blood vessel, and it arises from there, and sometimes maybe some lymphatic origin also. So like I said, it is associated with AIDS, that is your acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So the features of AIDS is classified as strongly associated lesions and weakly associated lesions. So Kaposi's sarcoma comes under the strongly associated lesion. So if the patient is positive for HIV, he'll sooner or later definitely develop Kaposi's sarcoma. Okay, so that's another important occurrence of Kaposi's sarcoma, which we should know. And the causative agent is HHV8, which stands for human herpes virus 8, or it is also called as Kaposi's sarcoma herpes virus. Okay, it's a type of herpes virus, and this is supposed to be responsible for the sarcoma which we see in these patients. So we see both a combination of skin lesions as well as oral lesions. So you can see the lesions on the skin here, and the oral lesions are seen in hard palate, in gingiva in this case, and on the tongue. So when they start off, they appear as brown or reddish purple zone, of course, because of the blood behind it, which does not blanch with the pressure. And over time, that's the difference between the benign and malignant, because the benign blanches under pressure. This clinically does not branch under pressure. And over time, it develops into plaques or nodules. So what we are seeing here are actually you can call them nodules in appearance. Pain, bleeding, and necrosis can also be seen. You could see some amount of necrosis even in this patient, and it could invade the bone and even result in mobility of the teeth when it is associated in close association with the teeth, maxilla. So histopathologically, again, we see pleomorphism and hypercellularity of these pleomorphic cells. So you will see a lot of bland appearing spindle cells, but what we must be aware of is that the blood vessels, the endothelial cells are not actually spindle shaped. So they've all undergone pleomorphism. So all these are plenty spindle shaped cells which we see. There is atypical mitosis which is seen here. This is atypical mitosis, and there is hyperchromatism and change in the shape of the nuclei. So all those things are seen, and there is a lot of extravasated RBC. So that is indicating the hemorrhage which we discussed in the clinical picture. Very typical feature of Kaposi's sarcoma and diagnostic, I would say, is the stag horn shaped blood vessels. So, the stags, which are the animals, so their horns, the shape of the stag horn, it's very unique. If you don't know what it means, please look in the Google. So this is how it looks. So this entire thing can be a horn of a stag. Okay, so the stag horn shaped blood vessels are very characteristic of Kaposi's sarcoma. The first differential diagnosis is the benign tumor of blood vessel, that is hemangioma. And then also erythroplakia, because it's the reddish, and when it's a plaque-like lesion, you have to differentiate from that. Melanoma, because of the bluish and the reddish appearance again, and again when it's plaque-like, not the nodule. And pyogenic granuloma, because even pyogenic granuloma is seen in the gingiva and in relation to the upper teeth or even lower. So that has to be differentiated, because there are a lot of blood vessels which are seen in pyogenic granuloma histopathologically. So treatment, various forms of treatment are used, but none has been successful. Hence, the prognosis of Kaposi's sarcoma is very, very, very poor. Also, probably because it is strongly associated with patients with HIV. So the diagnosis, the prognosis becomes even more poor. So the survival rate is very, very less. So this is something which I wanted to discuss, that is the difference between carcinoma and sarcoma. So the differences between carcinoma and sarcoma is very important for you all to know. So like I said, the cell of origin carcinoma is epithelial, and when it is mesenchymal in origin, it is called as sarcoma. How the cells are arranged is usually in an alveolar or a glandular arrangement in a carcinoma, whereas in sarcoma, they're all single. So there is a loss of adhesion. So they're so freely they can migrate and they can go and invade the distant structures. So the size is quite more in case of a sarcoma compared to a carcinoma. And the blood vessels are involved less in case of carcinoma, whereas in sarcoma, that's the main mode of spread, because the main mode of spread in a carcinoma is through the lymphatic vessels. Okay, so or the lymphatic channels or the lymph nodes, the chain of lymph nodes. Whereas in case of sarcoma, it spreads through blood mainly. That's why it spreads faster, because blood goes to all the organs and cells of your body. So the metastasis is much more faster in case of a sarcoma. Hemorrhage is lesser in a carcinoma, whereas more in case of a sarcoma. Necrosis is also less in a carcinoma, it is more in sarcoma. Age incidence is mostly seen in older age group, but of course it can occur in young, but it's mostly seen in older. But sarcoma is mostly seen in younger, which is again a sad thing, because the prognosis is poor for sarcoma. Again, it can affect older people as well in rare case scenario. And like I said, the mode of metastasis is commonly through lymphatics in carcinoma, whereas blood is the metastatic route in case of sarcoma, with very few involvement of lymphatics. And the site of the first metastasis in case of a carcinoma is the regional lymph node. We are talking about oral cavity here, okay? Whenever we are talking about primary tumor in the oral cavity, the first site of metastasis is lymph node, and then of course it spreads to lung and liver. And in sarcoma, because it's spreading through blood, it first attacks the lung directly. So those are the references.